Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week of our Cybersecurity Executive Brief. I am Corey Wolf, Director of Offensive Security here at Risk 360. And with that, let's just jump right into it and start talking about ransomware. Ransomware. So every Monday, we do put out an analysis of the prior week's ransomware activity from May 7 to May 11. There were a total of 84 victims released to ransomware sites, with the busiest being a group known as Quillen. Quillen is a group named after a mythical creature from Chinese folklore, which may or may not tell you something about this group. Are they Chinese, or is it just a campaign to make you think they're Chinese? It's up to you. Regardless, Quillen has been very active over the past month. The last week, rather, they had a total of 11 victims posted to their leak site. They've been around for a while, so about 2021, late 2021, early 2022. But over probably the past 30 to 60 days, they've become much more active. So they have been very active on their leak site. They spun up a Telegram channel to release data and release victim information. So just within the past 30 days, their activity on their leak site, as well as spinning up the Telegram channel, indicates that we're going to see quite a bit more, quite a bit more activity from Quillen in 2024. But they were the busiest group last week. If you look on the right there, you can also see it looks like Tuesday was the busiest day for releases to leak sites as far as victims are concerned. Interestingly enough, Saturday was busy as well. So they pretty active on Saturday. Guess they didn't like Thursday. Maybe they had a lot of meetings that day. Who knows? But yeah, so busiest group, Quillen with 11 last week. The big news, of course, is Blackbasta and Ascension Healthcare. So Ascension Healthcare last week had a cyber incident, which they started to, inform the public about. Unfortunately, at Ascension, last week they had to turn away ambulances, ER services. They had to go back to paper and pad because all of their IT systems were down. They still are. I believe they still are. They're starting to kind of claw their way back and start to get infrastructure stood up again. But they did not initially, say that Blackbasta was to blame for this. They didn't even necessarily say there was a ransomware incident when this was first released. However, they have since come out and said that it was a ransomware incident, and they've been working to get their systems back up and running. They mentioned that it was going to be a slow, steady process, which indicates that they probably do have backups somewhere, but their method for restoring those backups, who knows what it is or how it's set up, but it's clearly not a rapid restore situation for them. And I'm sure that they're still trying to claw back their network just in general. They're probably still in the middle of it. I forget the name of this. I'm sorry. The American Hospital Association actually issued a advisory about Blackbasta and their focus on healthcare groups. The FBI and some other organizations also put out an advisory about Blackbasta specifically, including CISA. So CISA, if CISA puts out an advisory like this means that that group is very active. So according to CISA, Blackbasta affiliates have targeted over 500 private industry and critical infrastructure entities, including healthcare organizations in North America, Europe, and Australia. So Blackbasta is responsible for this Ascension Healthcare attack. CISA and many other industry organizations believe that this is something we need to keep an eye on, or this is a group rather that we need to keep an eye on and really start paying attention to. I think for next week, I'm going to try and find some data to back it up, but I can almost guarantee you that the initial access to Ascension, just like with Change, for example. The initial access was probably some sort of low-hanging fruit. At this time, I don't have any data to back that up, but most ransomware initial access comes from things like reusing passwords, not having MFA, the low-hanging fruit, the easy stuff that might be in our process and procedure, but actually implementing them is a whole another story. So Ascension, I believe, should be back online within the next week or two, but it is a slow process for them. And different industry groups, as well as federal groups, are warning of Blackbasta and kind of the tear that they're on right now. So speaking of restoring from backup, this was an interesting one I thought we should call out. Google Cloud accidentally deleted an organization called UniSuper's online account to what they said was an unprecedented misconfiguration. So UniSuper, I believe, is a hedge fund. I could get that wrong. I believe they're a hedge fund. They're in the financial services industry. But UniSuper just went one day and their Google Cloud account was gone. It was gone. There was a joint statement put out by UniSuper CEO and Google Cloud CEO, essentially saying that, hey, this was a freak accident of a number of misconfigurations that caused this. But what happened was UniSuper's whole infrastructure in Google Cloud was deleted in one way or another. I said talking about backups and restoring because the thing about UniSuper is they did a very good job of having backups. So not only did they have their production Google Cloud account backed up in another Google Cloud account, they had it backed up on a separate cloud provider account. So really well done to them. You could tell that they put a lot of time and effort into their disaster recovery and business continuity plans, because it's one thing to say, okay, we need to have backups, but it's another to say, okay, well, how and where exactly are these backups stored? And, what kind of resiliency do we need to build in here, right? So very good job on their end. They were able to restore their services relatively quickly. Of course, with the help of Google, you would hope so. But as you can see here, UniSuper has got 121 billion in funds under management. So this is real deal, big organization, which means it was a big infrastructure. And they were able to restore it relatively quickly, not only because they had another backup in their Google Cloud, but because they had a third backup on another cloud provider, which they don't say which one, but it's probably AWS or Azure, or even maybe even a co-location, their own data center. Who knows? A company of this size might have something like that. So thought that was interesting and was something we should call out. Very good job on their part from a disaster recovery and incident, well, all around really, disaster recovery, business continuity, incident response. They did a very good job of getting back up and running relatively quickly as far as incidents are concerned. So a little bit that you might have heard about Zscaler. There was a post in an underground cybercrime forum from the notorious Intel broker. Intel broker has been around for quite some time now. He is a threat actor who is known to go after high-profile organizations and obtain data. So recently, within the past few days, within the past week rather, Intel broker posted on a cybercrime forum that they had access to Zscaler infrastructure. Well, kind of. This is an example from that cybercrime forum to show, proof, basically. It was up for sale. This access was up for sale for, I think, $20,000 US in Bitcoin. And supposedly the sale was made and an example was posted. Long story short, what this ended up being is a Zscaler has a research and development arm known as Threat Labs. And what happened there was Threat Labs had a host of some kind facing the external internet. And it appears as though Intel broker gained access to this host, right? in one way or another. Zscaler says that it was not connected to their production account or their production infrastructure, which I would believe them if it truly was Threat Labs. That if you were to have an R&D department, typically it is completely structured away from production or anything else like that. And so what appears to have happened is that Intel Broker was able to gain access to some sort of R&D host. That host was not connected to Zscaler's production environment. And so if you work with Zscaler or you use them in any way, I would suggest you check out this update to the incident, which they claim to be resolved as of yesterday. So that's what we got for you this week. As a reminder, I do want to call out that we do have a penetration testing ROI calculator. If you're having trouble selling penetration testing to those that control the budget or to your boss, we've seen a lot of our clients and colleagues and everyone else that we've shared it with really get a lot of success in showing the return on spending past just that check the box compliance pen test. The big example I give, well, even now, Change Healthcare, HIPAA R1, ISO 27001, a couple other ones that were fully compliant with all these different frameworks, but yet they had a cyber incident in something like the Zscaler or the Change Healthcare. Those incidents could have been prevented by typically something like attack surface management or a red team engagement, but that is what's not considered a check the box pen test. And so sometimes it might be difficult to sell that upstairs and get the budget and get stakeholder buy-in. And so this penetration testing ROI calculator has been very helpful for, again, our clients and colleagues. And so there's a link in the description and I believe in the comments if you'd like to check that out. That's it for this week. Again, I'm Corey Wolf. I hope you have an excellent rest of your week, a great weekend, and we'll see you here again next Wednesday. See you soon.